My dad mocked me for being a janitor. He toasted at Thanksgiving to the kids who made something of themselves and didn't end up cleaning toilets. I didn't respond. I just left. Years later, he sat outside my office, waiting for a job. The clinking of silverware stopped. My dad stood at the head of the table, his wine glass raised and a smirk playing on his lips. My brother, the surgeon, sat to his right. My sister, the corporate lawyer, to his left. Then there was me. "I want to make a toast," he said, his voice booming with that practiced authority he used to intimidate everyone. "To my children, to the ones who worked hard, stayed focused, and actually made something of themselves." He locked eyes with me. It wasn't a warm look. It was cold, condescending, and sharp. "And to those who didn't end up spending their lives cleaning toilets for a living. Cheers." The room went silent. My sister looked at her plate. My brother took a slow, uncomfortable sip of his drink. I was 22. I was working 12-hour night shifts as a lead custodian at a tech firm to pay for my own certifications in night school. I was covered in the faint scent of industrial bleach and exhaustion. I didn't yell. I didn't flip a table. I didn't even defend the dignity of honest work. I simply placed my napkin on the table, stood up, and grabbed my coat. "Where are you going?" my mother whispered, her eyes pleading. "I have a shift," I said quietly. I walked out the door and never looked back. Not when he called to mock me further, and not when the family group chat blew up calling me sensitive. I stayed in the shadows. I worked. I stopped being the janitor at that tech firm and started being the guy who understood how the infrastructure worked better than the engineers did. I saw the filth they left behind, but I also saw the blueprints they left on their desks. 10 years is a long time to build a ghost. I cut contacts. I changed cities. I started a specialized facility management and industrial logistics firm. I didn't want to be the guy in the suit. I wanted to be the guy who owned the building the suits worked in. Fast forward to last Tuesday. I was sitting in my corner office on the 42nd floor. My assistant buzzed the intercom. "Sir, the candidates for the senior logistics supervisor role are here. One of them is insistent on seeing the owner directly. Says he has legacy experience." I looked at the resume on my screen. Robert Vance, my father. His former company had been liquidated 2 years ago. He was 62, overqualified for mid-level roles and desperate. "Send the first few in," I said. "Save Mr. Vance for last." I watched him through the glass partition of the waiting area. He looked smaller. His hair was white. His suit was a decade out of style, and he was fidgeting with his tie. He had no idea whose name was on the door. He just knew the holding company's initials. When it was finally his turn, he walked into my office with that old, fake confidence. He didn't look at my face at first. He looked at the view. "Incredible office," he started, his voice cracking slightly. "I've been in this industry a long time, and I think I can really help." He stopped. I turned my chair around slowly. The blood drained from his face so fast I thought he might faint. "Hello, Dad," I said. The silence was heavier than the one at the Thanksgiving table a decade ago. "Leo," he whispered. You own this?" "They said a young guy bought the firm, but I didn't think." He looked around the room, realization hitting him like a physical blow. He saw the polished marble. He saw the spotless floors. "I heard you were looking for work," I said, leaning back. "The resume says you're looking for a leadership role." "I am," he said, a spark of his old ego returning. "I mean, given our history, I figured maybe we could put things behind us. Family helps family, right?" I looked at him for a long beat. "Family does help family," I agreed. "But professionals hire based on merit." I stood up and walked toward him. I could smell his desperation. It smelled like the same cheap cologne he wore when he used to tell me I was a disappointment. "You told the whole family I'd never be more than a guy who cleans toilets," I said, my voice calm and low. "Leo, that was a joke. I was just trying to motivate you." "No," I interrupted. "It wasn't a joke. It was who you wanted me to be so you could feel superior." I walked over to my desk and picked up a silver keycard. "I'm not gonna hire you for the supervisor role, Dad. You're out of touch with modern logistics." His face fell, his shoulders slumped. "However," I continued, "we have a vacancy in the maintenance department, night shift, building sanitation." He stared at me, his mouth hanging open. "It's honest work," I said, echoing the words he'd mocked. "And since you're family, I'll make sure you get the best industrial-grade bleach on the market." I held out the keycard. "Do you want the job or not?" He looked at the card, then at my face. He saw no anger there, just the cold, hard reality of a man who had built a kingdom out of the dirt he was told he belonged in. He didn't take the card. He couldn't. He turned around and walked out of the office, his head hanging low. I watched him go through the glass. I didn't feel a surge of joy. I didn't feel evil. I just felt clean. I sat back down, buzzed my assistant, and told her to bring in the next candidate. I had a business to run.